So welcome everybody to it's actually our first statewide professional development of the year. And this session in particular is our new advisor training. So welcome to this training and welcome to Mesa. Some of you I know that are joining with us are brand new. So nice to meet you. And some of you maybe have started with Mesa mid-year last year, when, things were getting started. So it's always even good for a refresher for anybody that would like it or that feels, any additional help is always good. So to introduce myself, my name is Anita Gonzalez, and I am the Deputy Director for New Mexico Mesa. Also here on the line, we have different New Mexico Mesa staff members that will be tuning in today, but not necessarily running this event. So we have our Executive Director, Ms. Lynn Faith Ewerts. We have our Central Inner Region Coordinator, Kim Shearer, is on the line with us.
Afternoon, everyone.
And not yet joining, we have two other regional coordinators, Nick Coons, our North Central, and Alejandra Olivas, who is our North Region Coordinator. They will also be just joining in and observing today. Now, part of the team that will be, sorry about that noise. It's like to get a duck quack, but so the team that will be bringing you our new advisor training today is Ms. Terry Ramirez. She is our Southwest Region Coordinator. There is Betty Chansey, who is our Southeast Region Coordinator, and Shandina Smith, who is our West Region Coordinator. So today my role is I am just a moderator. So I'm going to sit back and kind of help with any of the training or any questions that may come up, but I will pass it off to the team.
Thank you so much, Anita. So we're very excited to have you all here, and I hope you all can hear me. Sometimes my microphone goes off, so if that happens, please let me know right away. So you've signed up to be an advisor. Well, we're super excited about that, and this is what we're going to cover a little bit of today. We will be going over the handbook, a little bit of background information about Mesa, meetings and activities. What are you going to do during the time that you're meeting with the kids? We're going to talk a little bit about the loyalty award and the forms, the famous forms that all your regional coordinators talk about. So a little bit about Mesa. There are 6 regions in the state. We are divided as regional coordinators. There's 6 of us, and Anita introduced all of us. And so we're all hosted at a different university or community college. And this is who it is. It's Kim, Nick, Alejandra, Betty, Shandina, and I. And we're spread out throughout the entire state so that we are accessible to everybody. In addition to them, we also have Ling and Anita, that she also introduced, and Nadine, who is our accounting technician. On the website, you can find all our contact information. And throughout the PowerPoint, you'll hear me say, talk to your regional coordinator. But in reality, anybody on this list, we have an amazing administrative team, and they're very reachable. Their cell phones are up there, and you can always send any of us a text or an email, and all of us will reply right away. So you signed up for Mesa. This is what we need you to do throughout the year. As part of your requirements, you need to have a minimum of 20 students. Now, does that mean only 20? No. We want you to have 20 active students is what we mean by this. 20 active students might mean 10 show up to a meeting, 15 show up to a meeting, 25 go to another event, 30 go to this activity. But in general, the average 20 active students, okay? What we don't like to see is a club that registered 20 and then all of a sudden dwindled down to 4. And you're sitting very sad in a room with 4 kids. We want to see happy, outgoing clubs that have a lot of members. So make sure that you are registering students. Now, the big push for registration is right now till October. The reality is you can accept students the entire year. When the football players are done with football season and one of them wants to join, absolutely. Anytime a student wants to register, they can register. Okay, so 20 minimum students. Then you need to meet with them a minimum of 15 times. I will tell you that most clubs If they only meet 15 times, they're doing like the bare minimum, because we offer so many opportunities for the students and for you, that on the average, I would say we see more about 25 to 30 meetings. And that might be small meetings, or it might be participating in different activities, but you need to have a minimum of 15. But in reality, you'll see them a little bit more.
There was a question, Terry, in the chat.
We have a middle school class. Yes. So that will be on my next slide, but yes, you do. So if you are a Mesa class, you are still required to meet with them after school, because Mesa is not inclusive. We want to make sure that kids that don't get a chance to have it as a Mesa class, as an elective, that they are still able to participate in Mesa. Okay. So thank you for catching that. You have to have one non-Mesa competition, and that could be anything from Best Robotics Vex, InnoVenture, Science Olympiad, to a competition in your classroom. Okay, it doesn't have to be an external organization, but you can certainly use them if you are partnering with any other external organization. You need to have one parent meeting. That parent meeting could be at the beginning of the school year, so you can let parents know about what you plan to do with Mesa for the year. A lot of advisors use the parent meeting at the end of the year as an award celebration to recognize the achievements of the club for the year. Whatever you decide, any regional coordinator will be happy to support, attend, issue out prizes, whatever you need us to do to support your parent meeting, please let us know. One, service learning. Your service learning is community service. So part of Mesa is giving back to the community. And whether that's cleaning up the campus or partnering up with an organization to work at the food bank or at the orphanage and provide activities and such, whatever it is that you guys decide to do, we want to know about it. And I know Anita will talk about it when we talk about the statewide activities about our big give, and we want to hear about your service learning activities. When we talk about service learning, what we hope to achieve with Mesa's service learning is that it's something that the kids can be proud of and that they can write about in a resume, in a scholarship application, in a college application. Yes, cleaning up the campus on a Saturday morning is good. It helps the campus. The reality is that if the wind blows the next day, it's back to being dirty. So when we mean service learning, we mean building a recycling program at your school so that each classroom has a bin. Does that make sense in regards to the difference of quality of service learning? So we don't have a problem if that's what you want to do. If you want to clean the campus on Saturday morning, that we're okay with that. But what we're looking for is something meaningful that the kids can definitely talk about and be proud of and write about. Then we can go on to 3 workshops, speakers, or field trips. So throughout the year, you need to do one of each of these, whether it's a field trip, a speaker, a guest speaker, and a workshop. And during COVID world, we had a lot of virtual field trips and a lot of virtual guest speakers. And so depending on what your school allows this year will depend on how much virtual, how much in person you can do. But your regional coordinators and Anita all plan different activities. And I'm sure she's going to go over each of them in detail tomorrow. But we do have guest speakers. We do have, like, for example, the STEM series, which is the first Tuesday of every month, I want to say. And correct me if I'm wrong, Anita, but I believe it's the first Tuesday of every month. It's after school. The kids join online. And she's been able to get great guest speakers because she can get them nationwide since they're online. So that's a great opportunity for the kids to do that. And that's an easy check off of your requirement. Okay. The MOU signed by your superintendent, that we take care of that as your regional care coordinators. And once we're done with that, we'll give you a copy of it, but it's also available online. So you know what your superintendent has agreed to. Advisors. So the items in pink were the ones that you have to do with the students. The items in red is between the adults. You need to at least attend one regional advisor meeting. And that could be virtual or it can be in person. Your regional coordinator will let you know. You will need to attend. We will meet with you twice minimum as a site visit. That's when we as regional coordinators go to your program, whether you invite us during club time, during your prep, after school, whatever works for you, whatever your school is allowing. And we go meet with you and make sure that everything's going okay. We're here as a support system for you, so we want to make sure things are running smooth. And then the last thing that we need is for you to fill out proper paperwork, get us paperwork back to us, and be able to communicate with your administrators about what's going on in Mesa. Where's that go? How do you find out more? Thank you. And Kim uploaded on the chat the handbook, and I'll show you also where to access it on the website, but she did put the link there for you guys, and that's what I'm referencing. So you have a copy of this and you have access to this at all times. All right.
And there is a question in the chat. So as she's mentioning statewide events, for all the statewide events that she's talking about, we will be reviewing all of them at tomorrow's general session. So she's referencing them today as part of the general overview. But tomorrow we'll be giving out details on all the statewide events.
And I know I got ahead a little bit ago, but I'll repeat it one more time just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. If you are one of the lucky schools that was able to put Mesa as an elective, we're super excited because it just means our students are going to have more time. But you still need to have an after-school club. Whether it's after school or lunch, you need to make some time for the kids that cannot take Mesa as an elective. All right, so what happens during a Mesa meeting? It's pretty much, you run it as a club. You need to get paperwork that needs to be turned in. For example, the beginning of the school year, you will be turning in forms to register the students into the program. And as field trips arrive, then you'll be filling out paperwork for field trips, field trip permission slips, things like that. And you want to run it as a club that has officers. President, vice president, secretary, treasurer, historian, things like that. And if you have more questions on what roles they can play or how to develop those roles, talk to one of your regional coordinators. And then you want to do some sort of team building activity or have a guest speaker or watch a recording from the many recordings that we have available and use it as a workshop activity. Hands-on activities. I know that if you go to the website, and we'll preview it right now, there's lots of team building and lots of competition preparation activities, lots of STEM activities for you to work on. You can do that. Okay. All right. These are the required forms. So you've heard me now talk a little bit right now about registration. For the next couple of months, anytime that a new student comes to you, you need to have a minimum of 3 forms returned back to you. The one is the parent permission. That one's returned to the regional coordinator. The student profile, and it's entered on our website, and I'll show you where shortly. And the field trip agreement. All 3 forms are available online, so if the kids fill out all 3 forms online, you're done. You can also select to do them as paper and then enter them yourself, or have everybody bring it in a paper form and then take them to the library or to the computer room one day and have them all fill it out and submit all at once. So how you set up that process will be totally up to you, but those are the 3 forms that we need to get back. Now, one of the important things to look out for is our October deadline. And Shandina or Betty, if you guys can look up the date, I want to say it's October 7th, but I could be wrong. So in October, we have a deadline for these forms. But wait, Miss Terry, you just said that you could accept them all year. Yes, you can take kids all year long, but in order for you to get paid, we do have a deadline because we got to cut out checks. It's October 14th. Thank you, Kim. So by October 14th, however many forms you have in there, you'll get $7 a kid. And I know it doesn't sound like much, but once you add it up, it does add up to a little bit of money. It's a little bit of startup money so that you can start your club. So your goal between here and October 14th, let's make it October 13th so that you don't wait for the website to crash. Fill out as many A1s, A2s, and A3s as possible. Now, one thing that we've seen a lot is some kids will fill in an A1 and they'll forget the A2, or they'll fill in the A2 and they'll forget the A1. You can ask your regional coordinators on Monday. We get the list on Fridays of who's done it, but there's a lot of mismatch. So you have to make sure that they fill out both forms. It makes our life easier, it'll make your life easier, and it'll match those checks a lot easier if they have all their forms ready. Okay? So, forms that you'll need throughout the school year for us, A1, A2, A3. You'll hear us talk about it nonstop. School forms that you'll need will depend on your school, field trip permission slip, medical information, anything else that your school requires, or student services that your students need. Okay, those are on you to get as a teacher. All right. As you're meeting with the students, you'll have to keep an attendance activity records, and it's very important to keep attendance. And I'll let you know about the loyalty award here in a minute. But we need you to keep those attendance records. One, we need you to keep a hard copy. We also need an electronic copy. Have a student sign-in sheet where the students can physically sign in. And if any of your schools have to go online or virtual for a couple of weeks, you can still meet with your students via Zoom or Google Classroom or any of the online methods. You just keep your sign-in sheet that way. Okay, so just remember that right now, since we now can go virtual at any moment, you can always make these meetings virtual and keep your attendance that way. Once these activities are complete, then you can enter it into MIMS. And we'll go into MIMS in a little bit, and I'll show you where to register. The MIMS is our database where we collect the data. It's currently under construction, so you're going to see a few edits during this school year. You're going to see a lot of edits come in and out of MIMS, but eventually you'll be able to enter the stuff into MIMS. All right. So I know that I went a little bit over these, but I just want to emphasize that you're doing any STEM activities that you can think of, and add the A in there for art. You can do some STEAM activities and make it amazing. This is your club, so it will look what you want it to look like. Okay, what your students are interested in. If you have a lot of students that are interested in coding, then ask regional coordinators, will support you. If you are interested a lot more in service learning, let us know, and we can certainly help you connect with those organizations that are in need of help. Okay, but the goal of the program is to do a variety of STEAM activities and team building and service learning and things to prepare the students to college. Our goal is to get all of these kids into higher education, whether it's a 2-year college, 4-year college, or a short career. I forgot the name. The electricians, welding, any of those technical schools. Thank you. Sorry, technical schools, so that they can go on to higher careers, better careers. So sorry about that. Kid exploding a phone. So your goal is to make them feel part of an academic team. In middle school, I know it's a little bit overwhelming to think they're going to be running a club and a president as a 6th grader or as a 7th grader, but they'll get the hang of it. And little by little, they start growing. So you might not have all the nerdy kids. You might just find the kids that just need a place to belong. And Mesa takes in everybody. So please remember that it doesn't matter what their grades look like or anything like that, you want to make sure that you can include them in Mesa. There is something for them to do, no matter their skills. So when you're doing activities, you can do such things like guest speakers. And like I said, we're all located at a university or community college. So if you talk to a regional coordinator, we can find you connections of university and college professors that are just dying to go and talk to students, and or you come onto the campus, whichever is available for you. So if you are in need of guest speakers, please feel free to contact us and we will get you in touch with somebody to make sure that you have somebody to go talk to your students. Fundraising. Now, fundraising is not required as a club, but sometimes it's helpful. This will depend on whoever, whatever school rules you have. Some districts do allow fundraising and we're here to support you. Some schools do not allow fundraising and hopefully they give you enough activity money to work with it. So if your school allows you to fundraise, please make sure that you talk to who is ever in charge of the activity accounts. Make sure that there is a designated Mesa account. And I emphasize that because you don't want your money to go into the general principal's fund. You will fundraise and then they will use your money. So please make sure that you have a designated Mesa account. If Mesa was there before, find out if there was a Mesa account and how much money there was there before you. If you are starting out the year with zero, then start thinking of ideas of what you can sell and what you can fundraise at school. Whether it's the world-class chocolate bars for $1 or whether you guys are fundraising in any way. But please do not collect dues as a club. Do not charge students to be in Mesa. They can fundraise, but you can't charge them to be in Mesa. Okay? And then please make sure that you follow whatever fundraising procedures your school district requires. Okay? So a couple of things to keep in mind is, especially in high school, officers will help run meetings. This is not designed for you to have additional work. And if you start establishing officers, then you can meet with your officers every couple of weeks or once a week. Tell them, okay, this is what we're up to this week. This is what's coming up in activities. You also earn extra points for being an officer. And organize the paperwork. So the secretary can take attendance. The president lets them know what activities are coming up. And historians are taking pictures, and you guys have a nice scrapbook at the end of the year. Okay. So as there's many activities, obviously you're not going to have the 20 or 30 students attend every single event. We don't even have funding for all of that. So you will be splitting up the students. Some will be attending the guest speakers because they are available that day. Some will be available to go to a field trip. Some are available to fundraise. Some students are really good with community service and that's all they want to do. So your students will do different activities. Not every student is required to do everything. And so it's really easy to target that red box that I showed you of requirements because all of your students will do a little bit of here and there. So try to maintain consistency of having meetings once a week. You know, sometimes that's not possible right now. And again, if your school goes virtual, have a Google Classroom or however your school is set up so that you make sure that you can continue your program. And then work with your regional coordinator. At any point during your year, you're wanting to try something new or you're wanting to get on with the next activity, the next competition, just call us. We love to chat and we love to come up with new things and we definitely love to go visit you. So please let us know. Now, remember I talked to you guys about those entering and keeping a hard copy of those activities and make sure that you're entering them because we're going to enter them in MEMS. The reason it's so important is because the students will earn a loyalty award. Okay, and it starts from day one in 6th or 7th grade, wherever they start in their middle school Mesa career, all the way till their senior year, December of their senior year. Every activity that gets entered into MIMS, into the database, every activity that they join earns them points. A meeting will earn them 1 point, a leadership will earn them 5. If they go to a parent meeting, they earn 5 points, things like that. And those points equal dollars at the end. Now, these dollars do not go to their university as a scholarship. These dollars go in a check for them, straight to their house. The check is meant for them to go use it on higher education. What that looks like for them is up to them. You know, if they need to buy books, if they need to pay tuition, if they need to pay for food once they're in college, whatever that looks like for them, that is up to them. But it is intended to help support that freshman year, and they can earn up to $1,000. So please remember that it is very important, and you have to enter them yearly. Don't wait until the end of the year to enter. And if you're a high school teacher, we ask that you enter everything monthly, no later than December, because in December we do the cutoff, and we've seen kids lose it by a couple of points, and it's because nobody took the time to enter those points. So please make sure that you stay up to date on entering the data. Now, I'm going to go back and answer one of the questions. When you get your $7 per student, there are 2 options for you. You can talk to your regional coordinator and ask for it to be part of your Amazon account, and you can order straight out of Amazon. Or you can get a check, you sign the check on the back, and you give it to your school, they deposit it into your Mesa account. So there's 2 ways of you to receive those $7 per kid. Okay, but just talk to your regional coordinator if you want it as an Amazon credit. Any questions so far? Am I talking too fast? Okay. All right. So we're going to visit the website here in a little bit, but the Mesa website gives you it gives you lots of information. We keep the statewide calendar and resources there. There are pages for students and advisors. And again, I'm going to go through all of this, but it gives you a lot of information. So please get very, very familiar with the website. And please remember, you've got this. We are so proud of you, and we are so excited that you're part of the team. So absolutely, we know you can do this. So let's visit the website for a second. Let me stop this share, and I'm going to go on to just a second. All right. Share screen. Here we go. Okay, so this is our website, nmesa.org. And in it, on the very first part, you'll see different activities coming up. And as different events are coming up, we'll also post them here. But it also shows up under upcoming events. Under regions, you will find each of us. Remember, there's 6 of us and all of our information. So if you go here and you click on Central Inner, you will find all of the information Central Inner has and Kim's information. So a little bit of Kim's information, and all of her activities are here. And you'll also see a list of schools. We put up our news events in there and upcoming events. Anything that's statewide is up here. And if you want to know about past events or see different competitions that we've had, they are listed there. Now, the one that's extremely important for us today is this resources page. So under STEM resources, there is there's an activity package here that has 37 STEM grab and go activities. These were done during the spring of 2020 when COVID had just started, but they are amazing activities, super easy at-home activities that the kids can do. And you can do them in the classroom, but they are lots of fun. We tried them. There's also lots of these activities here. And here's the access to MIMS too, and I'll go over that in just a second. Under curriculum, we have a Mesa curriculum that has been approved. We have the STEM E curriculum that was a partner with Los Alamos National Labs. The prosthetics curriculum, solar cooker, and lots of other ones, and the Mesa Buddies Handbook, which is activities that you can do with elementary kids if your school partners that way. All you need to do for that one, to access any of these, is hit on the agreement link, fill out the information, and this will get you an email response from Anita with the information and the password, and you'll have access to all of these. So don't forget to bombard Anita's email today by hitting that agreement link and filling it out so that she can give you access to all the curriculum.
On a note on that, Terry, the Mesa Buddies curriculum is the one that is a little bit different. To get access to the Buddies curriculum, you do need to be accepted into the Mesa Buddies program, which I'll review tomorrow. That's by application. So that's the one exception. It's on here just because this is the right place for it, but that is the one that is by a different password. But yes, there will also be a couple new things added by tomorrow, but all of these are accessible through the same password except the last Mesa Buddies.
Okay, so you access all of these with the exception of that last one, and she'll talk about this one tomorrow, but fill this agreement link.
Okay. And there is a couple questions in the chat about possible team building activities that we can use during Mesa meetings time. Though I'm going to speak specifically to the curriculum. So the current or the New Mexico Mesa curriculum 2020 to 2021, we did design that. And even though it's called a curriculum, those are more like little mini lessons that you could do during Mesa time or class time. And there are virtual adaptations. So that curriculum, it does have, it is marked if there is, if, you know, to have distance accommodations. Regard to other just specific team building activities, if you or another coordinator could maybe comment on that about, you know, possible resources that you've used with your teachers.
Okay. I'm having them look right now to see which ones specifically are for team building, and I will get right back to that answer as soon as they let me know.
Yeah, and you can also show them you're going to show them the activity downloads and all that too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the next one is the activity downloads. And these I would say would be my team building activities where they do the gravity drop and activities like that, working on surface tension. So they're still STEM related, but they have to do a little bit of hands-on and learn to develop as a team. So this would be where I would go to, but I just asked the other regional coordinators in case they do others. But this is 37 activities that they can work on, but I know that I use some of them as team building. Okay, so then the next one is the Mesa standard forms. Remember those forms that I said, A1, A2, and A3? Well, they're all here. This is where you go to get them in. There is the printable version, but there is the submittable version. So if you go here and you click on an A1, they fill this out, student name, grade, what region they are, and they can even sign it right here. Once they hit submit, it is ready to go and it comes to us. You can do the printable version and then upload it yourself. So that is one option. The A1 is available and the A2 are available in Spanish, and so is the A3. So they are available in English and in Spanish here. If you go on to a few more pages, you will also see your advisor contract. We ask that each of you fill this form out and please give it to your regional coordinator. It just means that you're gonna participate in the activities and that you're not gonna use the money wrong, and that when we go on field trips, you're not gonna drink, and that you're gonna hold your parent meeting and things like that. It also requires the signature of your principal, so please make sure that you sign it, your principal, and we'll file it just to make sure that we have it. If we go out overnight, then we have you fill out the overnight agreement.
Terry, you're in and out.
Can you hear me there okay?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Here is a copy of the MOU. Now, we will give you a signed copy once your superintendent has signed off on it, but you can see a copy of it here for your records, because this one comes up quite often. Oh, you're having a meeting and who's paying for the substitute? Agreed to pay for the first 9 days. But if you want to see all the details of what they have agreed to sign off for you, including the pay, please check. Now, there are some districts that have a modified MOU, but in general, the standard one is here. Okay, so please remember to look through these forms, but the most important ones are on that first page. Okay. As you're going through the website, you're going to see a page here for students. Again, you'll see we put them everywhere for you so that you remember to access them. In case the students need to access them, they're here. But we also talk about the loyalty award. Remember, every activity that they do with you earns them points. There is a poster here for them, but it also gives them the information of how they're going to earn it. They earn the first $500 by earning these points. If they do a service learning, it's 5 points. If they do a non-Mesa STEM competition, it's 7. If they do regional rally with your coordinator, it's 7 points. If they participate in Mesa Day, it's 10. Now you see here where it says seniors don't count. Remember, the cutoff is in December, so they won't be able to access Mesa Day by then. They can still participate in Mesa Day, but they're no longer earning points because we have to do a cutoff and start calculating their points. Now, the additional 500 points is the Einstein Bonus, and that is earned by earning a minimum of 175 points. So if they earn additional points, they get $20 or up to $100, depending on the number of points. If they are in the top 10%, they earn 63. If their ACT score is 21 or higher, if their GPA is 3.8 or higher, and if they were a Mesa officer. So remember how I was emphasizing, you need to have them be officers and have them start running the club. This is one reason. They have now earned those extra leadership skills and they get a little extra money. If they have met the minimum graduations and taken at least an additional STEM course, whether it's engineering or aerospace or any of the other elective courses, as long as it's a STEM course, then they get $63. And if they've taken AP or dual credit classes, they get $85. And that adds up to the additional $500. There is a deadline for all of these, and they have to meet certain requirements. Anita does a meeting with them to make sure that they know, and all their dates are here. So for this school year, these are the dates to keep in mind for all your seniors. By December 31st, they need to have met a minimum of 175 points. The last day to submit a transcript is February 15th. And I know I'm going
just on these dates, just so the due date for last year's graduating seniors was actually just Monday. So those haven't changed over yet. So those, yeah, check those haven't been updated yet.
That's right.
Because the deadline was just now. So those will eventually change here within the week to the new deadlines to meet for current 2022 graduating seniors.
Thank you. That's right. These are the 2021. I should have read that. But so yes, the day for them to submit their application was just this Monday. And then the checks get mailed out. So probably after the 24th or so, if you come back here, you will see the new deadlines for our students for this calendar year. So if you have seniors, come back and visit this page so that you can see it. Okay. And they fill out that information. So Under resources, I'm gonna go back here and it's available off of any regional page or any resource page. If you click here on MEMS 2, we need every advisor to have an account in the database. So if you click on it and you have not signed in, just go ahead and hit create new account. It will ask you for a little bit of information. Once you fill it out, hit advisor and sign up. Once you have that sign up, we will activate your account. So don't expect to see anything right away. It will take us a little while to activate it. But once we activate it, you'll be able to see the database. Okay, and that is available through any of the regional pages and also on the SAM resources page. Like I mentioned earlier, it is under construction, so it's going to take a little while and it's not working 100% yet for everyone. However, if it is working for you, working, let your regional coordinator know, and we'll see what we can do.
Terry, you're cutting out.
Give me a second. Let me turn off my air conditioner, guys. I think every time my air conditioner goes on, I go blurry. Okay, so sorry about that. The next thing that I wanted to cover, as MEMS is being developed and we need you to start keeping track of your activities. We have a couple of options. However you decide to keep track of your attendance, we need to have a couple of things in it. So you do not have to use this form. Whatever system works for you is fine, or talk to your regional coordinator. This is one resource that is available, but you are not required to use it. But the things that it does need to have, you need to have a list of your students. This is just for you and your internal records if they've turned in the A1 and A2. This is just for you. The ones that count for us are the ones that are online. If you want to use this form, these are the 5 different things that you could put on it. And some activities meet double requirements. So for example, if we have a meeting, but we're also having a guest speaker, we would put both things. And then, you know, met with kids about and MSU engineering teacher. You would let us know what day it was. This was September 8th, 2021. And you would let us know which kids attended. Again, this is a resource. If you want it, your regional coordinator can provide you the form. We do have the online version. We do have the offline version. So if you like online Google, we have it that way. If you like offline Excel, old fashioned, which is my taste, you would do it this way. The options are still there. If you have a different method of, by all means, as long as it meets the requirements of meeting it was, whether it was a guest speaker, a field trip, leadership, because remember those points, if it was a meeting and it equals 1 point, if it was a field trip, it equals 3 points, things like that. So we need to know what it is. We need a description of it and we need a date for it. So again, these 2 options are available for you. If you want it, ask your regional coordinator. But if you have a different method of taking attendance while MEMS is being developed, we certainly can work with that. All right.
There was a
information.
question. There was a question in the chat about where to get that form. I think you mentioned to go to the regional coordinator. Is that where they should go to access that form?
Yes, if you can send a text or an email to your regional coordinator saying that you want the temporary form, they can give you access to it. That way you can tell them whether you want the online version or the offline. So that was a whole lot of information. A little stretch here and there. So what we are going to do next is, do you guys have any questions? We'll take questions right now, and then after that, we'll get a game going. No? Okay. So if any other questions come up in the next hour or so, or even if you hang up, we finish today and you decide tomorrow that you have a question, feel free to reach out to us, whether it's your regional coordinators, Ling or Anita. We're always happy to answer any of your questions. We want to play a game. We want to talk to you guys about having some fun. This is one resource that we have for you guys that, that we can give you a year subscription to it, or the remaining of the year subscription to this. So if you all don't mind, there's a prize at the end of it. So there's always prizes. So if you can please open up a new link, you can do this on your phone, you can do this on a new tab. Go to gimkit.com/live and enter that code. Once you enter that code, it will ask you for your name. Thanks for that. All right. And I should start seeing some players show up here. Remember, there's prizes. So, all right, Matt.
Can you tell me the code? I'm trying to do it from my phone and my car is blocking the video.
No worries. 529136. Thank you, Kim. I just put the link up. So did Kim, and the code is 529136. If you're driving, we need you to be safe driving, okay? You can play the game later. All right. What happened? I don't know why it shows 0 players all of a sudden. Okay, well, this is attempting to reconnect because I don't know what just happened and I don't want to end up having to give you a different code. I might have to. Let me tell you a little bit about GameKit. So this is one of those resources that's an online game, kind of like Kahoot, where you ask questions and guess at the answer and hopefully get it right. This one will earn you money. The person with the most money wins prizes. This is one of those subscriptions that we can give you. So if you go to gimkit.com and register for an account, it will give you a 30-day trial for free. Once it gives you a 30-day trial, and during that 30-day trial, just send your email to your regional coordinator, and they will add you to the Mesa account, and you'll have the year for free. Give me a second here.
Terry, I think you're gonna have to enter a new code. I went to enter it just to see, since I know some of the answers, so I wasn't planning on playing, but I wanted to see if it would still take the code, and it's not accepting the code anymore.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Can you please enter one more time the code 159298? 159. Thank you, Kim. And I'm gonna stop touching my keyboard because I think that's what happened. And everybody should play. Regional coordinators included. Anita, sing, play. We had fun with the questions this morning. All right. I have 24 players. Let me see how many of us are there. There's 38 of us. So I'm assuming that there's a few of you that might not be able to play because I know that some of you are driving home and some of you were still doing classes, and that's fine. If you're getting somewhere, please be safe. But stick around for these few minutes so that you can see how the game is played. All right. It's going to ask you a question. If you get it right, you have the ability to go on to the next question or to go into the shop. If you go into the shop, they'll give you a couple of options on how to upgrade so you make more money per question. I will tell you as a hint, don't bother to go into the shop at least until you have $10 because there's nothing less than $10 in there. So don't waste your time going into the shop. You have 13 minutes to make as much money as you can. It's a little bit about Mesa. It's a little bit about New Mexico. It's a little bit about us. There's stuff that you never knew we had or that you knew about us, but this will give you a little insight into us. So I'm going to go ahead and start the game now. It's 13 minutes, okay? Go ahead and go. There's 5 minutes left, guys. And I realize there is a typo, so I'm sorry, I just hit on whatever for that question. I just realized there is a typo. So less than 5 minutes left. Two minutes left.
Are we supposed to shop or something or not?
You can if you want to. As you're making money, then you can go into the shop and it helps you upgrade how much money you make per question. You don't have to, but
Oh.
it does help you make more money.
Otherwise, what happens at the end?
You make less money and you probably won't win. All right. So, can you guys see the GIMP kit score sheet? Yes? Okay. So, Nick, see all that hard work we worked it for months and months, it paid off, Nick. Dre Cornwell from CC Snell, great job, second place. And I don't know who Moon is, but if you tell me who you are, you will get a prize in the mail. So please make sure that you write it on the chat. The yucca is not the state tree. Ooh, I must have gone to the wrong website. Sorry about that. And North is hosted by Highlands. So I am so sorry about the typos, guys, but hopefully you guys had some fun. So please let us know who Moon was. Charles Moon, Kennedy Middle School. Good job. Thank you, guys. This is just a little fun activity game. We played it last year for Mesa Day since we were virtual. But it does allow the kids to play at their own speed, you know, make their own strategy on how to make money. And I will say that even though Nick made an amazing $3,240, any middle schooler or any high schooler would have left him out in the dust because they make in the millions. It is amazing how quickly kids pick it up with just as much instruction as I gave you guys, which was hardly any, but they do amazing at games. And so this is one of those resources. If you're interested in having a subscription for it, sign up for it, send us your email, we'll pay for the rest of the subscription. Now, the other thing that I wanted to go back and share, I realized that give me a second, let me put in the right thing here. And there we go. Sorry about that. I realized I went through the A1 profile, but I did not go through the A2. Again, it is something that they just click on, fill it out, let us know the information they can, and then they will preferably need their PED number. It is not required, but if they do have access to it, it is not their lunch number. The PED number is something you can get with a registrar at your school, but it is not their lunch number. Their date of birth, student name, and all the information below. So that is the A2 form. One thing that I would ask that you emphasize with your students is what region you are. So if you go here by regions and you click on the map, whoever your regional coordinator is, that is what your region is. So if you are listed as one of these schools, then you are North. And I will tell you that a lot of students think Southwest because New Mexico is in the Southwest, and then all of them want to be in my region, and that's not how it works. So please make sure that if they're in the Southeast region, that they are able to click Southeast. So please do give them a little bit of advice, especially for our little middle schoolers. They need to know their home address, a good mailing address. Their home address and mailing address sometimes are different, but the Blue Corner house on Gold Street is not an address. So please make sure that they are aware of their address. And so when I say that the forms are available in print, you can print these out. This is the downloadable version, and you can download it and print it and have them fill it out so that you can review it before they enter it online. That way you know what they're missing. A lot of kids don't know their county. So we even have a high schooler or two that don't know their county. All this information helps us, and as much information as that they can put in. This information down here that it asks them about their highest education level for parents, this is for grant purposes for us. You know, the range of family income, it helps us apply for grants. So any information, as much information as they can provide on these forms, it does help us. And again, they can do the online version or they can do the downloadable version, and then you can enter them yourself or take them to the computer lab and have them enter after you've reviewed and addresses are correct, that their birthdays look correct. Things like that. Give me a second here. Okay. So,
Terry,
yes,
clarify, when you say enter, if they want to enter a student themselves, that's not on into MIMS, it's to the website right now. Is that correct?
correct. Everything they are entering right now is onto the website. Okay. So if they gave you the downloadable version and then you go up to the website, you have your printed version. You are typing it in and on signature say paper copy. Okay. If you can take them all to the computer room, or they all have laptops, or at least most schools, most students have laptops that they can pull up that day. Okay, go ahead and fill it out. But it does help them to do the paper form. So however you guys decide to do it, that is totally up to you. But if we just give you different options so that you have as many options to be successful as possible. Now, we have a little bit of time left, and I just want to make sure that everybody is comfortable in starting off their year, starting off with, if you have a club tomorrow or next week, what you're going to do. You know, do you need activities? Do you need me to cover anything in particular? I want to make sure that you guys are good to go. Tomorrow, we will cover what the year's theme is going to be, which I'm sure you all figured out. It's celebrating invention. And you guys are one step ahead of the game from every other advisor. You guys know that it's ready to go. We will cover things like what other activities there are, like Mesa USA, which is an additional competition that we are part of with all the other Mesa states. We are part of a conglomerate with other states such as California, Oregon, Utah, Maryland. How many of us are there, Ling? Anita? I want to say 11, but I could be wrong.
No, I think we have 10.
10. Okay. So there's 10 states that have Mesa, and we do participate in a nationwide competition. We are a very competitive state, and so we try really, really hard to do good in it every year. So tomorrow we will be covering your activities, options that you guys have for the year, but how can we help you today? And I will open it up to all the other regional coordinators, Anita and Ling, to answer any questions for you guys on how do we help you guys get started with the year. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay. So if this part is done, it's now about 5:16, 5:15-ish. If you guys want to take a little bit of a break, and then come back here, we'll wrap up the session at about 5, come back by 5:25. So a 9-minute break. So just go ahead and stretch and take a quick bio break. We'll get started here momentarily.
So I'm just curious.
A3 online. Will we be able to see their names in MIMS?
You will eventually. Very good question, because of MIMS construction and some issues still with that construction. We're working through that. And so it should be up and running. One day we'll have it up and running really well. And then the next day there are issues where we're working with the software developer on that. So you will be able to see them in MIMS, but we don't want to miss out on any opportunities to capture student participation points. And because of that, the amazing regional coordinators have created various forms, and much credit to Terry for creating some various forms that work with whatever way best works for you and the way that you think to be able to capture information so that we don't lose any of it. And we do have an undergraduate student who helps us with data entry when it gets too far behind. So don't think that all of this work only rests on your shoulders. We are here to help and figure out what we can do to help with that data entry if it piles up.
in addition to what she said, is on Fridays, Anita sends us out a list of who has registered. So if you ask us on Monday, or if if you set it up with your regional coordinator, they will send it out to you of who has registered so that you can see who's done A1s, A2s, A3s, so that you know which kids are still missing to go online and do it. All right. So Anita, I believe we are coming back, so I'm going to turn it back over to you. It was a pleasure. We're so excited to have you guys. Please, if in doubt, please reach out to your regional coordinator, Anita or Ling. We're all super excited to have an amazing Mesa year. So Anita, back to you.
And Terry, there's one more question in the chat that
I'm so
relates to
sorry.
something I have been trying to explain to Richard too, about how they can access that.
I
link,
will email
and I
it to all the regional coordinators right now, and they will disperse accordingly. Because I don't have everybody's email, but your regional coordinator has you, so I will send it out right this minute. So, Anita, to you.
Okay, thanks everybody. Hope you got a good stretch break there. I did actually turn on the recording back a little bit into the break as some of the questions were coming up, but I think the only one we missed was about the loyalty point list. It is put in the chat, the link to it. So if you want to find out the chart about loyalty award points or whatnot, it's also available through our website. If it's on the student section, Students Loyalty Award, but there's a direct link in the chat if you wanted the direct link also to it. Okay, so in this next part, now hopefully you guys are after the break, maybe a little bit more awoken a little bit. Just wanting to see how we can answer questions specific to your needs. So now we're about a month into the school year. I know you have probably met with your regional coordinators already on at least one occasion, getting everything kicked off. So hopefully some of this is a refresher for some information. But with that, wanting to maybe review a meeting structure or have anyone that would like to share out, or even get some of our other regional coordinators involved in a general meeting structure, get some ideas from some of you as maybe what you have already started with your meeting. If you guys have suggestions, or if you want help or you want suggestions to help fill out your meeting time, we can go ahead and take advantage of that. So by a quick, and I'm assuming, so now in this next part, we're going to use some of our reactions at the bottom here of our Zoom pages, or like our little hand raisers. So just by a show of hands, how many of you guys have hosted or started and had at least one Mesa meeting? I see some physical hands in the pictures. Let me see some virtual hands. Okay, there's some more thumbs up. Okay, so there's a small percentage here. So first off, in starting a Mesa meeting, if some of you guys either in the chat or out loud, what have been maybe some obstacles to getting started, if any? Is it just getting the school year, just timing, you're just getting started? Or is there something that you would maybe like some help with? And again, please, this is a free Mesa zone. Take advantage of the different coordinators that are in the room. And so if anybody is willing to share, it is much appreciated. I can guarantee you that another teacher is probably having the same circumstances that you may be experiencing. So if anybody wants to share or put in the chat.
I'll go first if that works. Did you want us to talk audibly or
No.
talk in the chat?
Either one, whatever
Okay.
works for you, whatever your preference.
For us, Portales High School, we had what's his name, Jack Willis, and he was in charge of the program for so long, and he did it very independently, that no one else was really involved with him, which is, I know that's exceptional, but we just didn't know what to do. So our regional coordinator, Betty, has been exceptional, and we've been working with her, but we haven't held a meeting because we just, this is going to sound really, really crazy for the three of us, but we didn't know what we would be doing in a meeting to hold a meeting. Like this is giving us some advice right now, so basically what we're after, what we're trying to organize. We had a informative meeting just looking to like who's interested, but an actual meeting, yeah, we haven't done that.
Yeah. And that is a common occurrence. So again, you are not alone. I think that is one of those things that, especially for programs that have been managed by an advisor for a long period of time, I think that's something that we find common. And so, you said you held a recruitment meeting for students that may be interested, and that is the first step. I think the hardest part is getting them to come. And oftentimes in a program like that, it may take on a whole new look, like it might be considered a brand new program to many because it looked a certain way for a long time. So I think that is a great first step, is to hold an interest meeting. For some of you, what maybe has worked out are, like either, using class announcements, getting with your, like say, counselors to help distribute any kind of flyers about meetings. I think general information sessions are great. However, the format, virtual or in person with students, just building a buzz about your program. And then oftentimes, like it was mentioned about a parent meeting, I think often it is a good suggestion to have at the start of the year a parent meeting. As I know Terry went through all the different requirements and the different information. A lot of times a parent meeting not only fulfills the intention of letting the parents know what's going on, but it also helps to give a guide for your program for the year. And that is something your regional coordinator could possibly help you with too. Like, the more times you repeat it, the more times you relay the information about the different requirements of the program, maybe the more times you hear it, to help kind of lay out for the year. For those in the comments here, Ellen has shared a sample agenda for a meeting. To start with attendance and announcements. For those of you that may not be able to see, maybe you're on a phone or you're en route, so I'm going to kind of read them off. Item number 2 is items of business. 3 is Mesa team building activity. 4 is STEM activity. And 5 is talking about the next meeting activity or date. So I think that is a great agenda. So depending upon your time frame, some of you guys may only have 30 minutes or so for like a lunch or even an afternoon or after school, maybe a little crunched. So getting started, and some of these, as Terry had mentioned in her presentation, some of these can, your student leadership can help with some of these items, but so they could even help with the attendance and, any general announcements you may have upcoming and, taking care of business. So items of business may be any statewide or regional activities that are going on, any activities that you have going on, like maybe you need sign-up lists. Maybe you're trying to get ideas for your next activity that you guys want to maybe do. Any just specific concerns at your school, that's maybe what you can talk about there. And then if time allows, doing some kind of team building activity. Some of our schools have been doing, now that they get started, some really cool, fun activities just to kind of get the year off. I know Kim, I'm gonna highlight Kim here, our Central Interregional Coordinator. She's been working with some of her schools. They've been doing a great, a balloon launch activity. So that's just something that's really great to build interest. It's really fun to see, balloons launching, and, it's kind of a good recruitment activity to get them interested. So I would suggest at these first meetings, especially as you're building student interest, to try to incorporate some kind of little activity. It could be as simple as, building a tower with popsicle sticks and marshmallows. And I know the COVID concerns or safety and materials. And so that is something that if you want to brainstorm ideas with, your coordinator is great to bounce some of those material ideas off of, like how to do things very cheaply, effectively, with materials that can either be disposable or easily sanitized, or reuse that in that way. Yes, Kim said a water balloon launch. So I think that was, I probably guarantee you any student that saw that water balloon launch is probably going to run and want to join Mesa because it looked really fun. They were shooting water balloons and calculating trajectory. So I think that's a great activity there. And then kind of wrapping up and planning for the next meeting. So the bigger momentum that you can build up at the school year, the better. What will help is, if you're having a loss of maybe activities or things to build up to at the start of the school year, besides just the different levels of the activities where you at a school, then you have your regional coordinator there for support for regional activities that they're already planning and ideas that they can give you to take to your school site. And then we have quite a few statewide events that are going to be launched that are available to all of our students. And so even if you're having If you're having a little difficulty and maybe planning something on your own, take advantage of a lot of those activities that are already pre-planned or that are already laid out. And then my guidance is when we lay out everything for you tomorrow and your coordinators are laying out everything from you, is it's okay to pick and choose certain activities. Like say, for instance, tomorrow statewide, I'm going to lay out probably estimation of about like maybe 10 different things or 8 different things. Not everything, you know, may be useful to you. Like if you're middle school or a high school, my suggestion is to take some activities that are of interest to you that you think your students would partake in and develop those, like participate, you know, build, do supplemental, maybe do research one meeting, you know, some follow-up, do all the activities that are offered. And that could easily fulfill, you know, your Mesa time. So for instance, one of the activities I'm going to talk about tomorrow, as Terry had already mentioned, was our STEM series. So our STEM series event is where we invite a cool STEM person, individual, you know, to come talk about something. So some of the past speakers that we've had someone from NASA coming in talking about a recent launch. We've had a professor talking about like anaconda research and showing, you know, different stuff on there. We had someone from the Marine Science Lab out of San Francisco talking about different invertebrates. So the session itself is fun and engaging for the students, but also on our website, there's follow-up activities that can be done. So, you know, between watching and maybe even not live, maybe watching the recording and doing maybe 1 or 2 of those activities, you already have, you know, maybe 3 Mesa sessions covered, you know, if that's something that will be helpful to you when you're building your Mesa time. So is there any other, anybody else that has had a meeting or that has already had a plan for a meeting that wants to share maybe their framework or something that they have done in their meeting time that has worked or that has been very positive?
I can share. I've been having lunch meetings just because we don't have buses running yet until mid-September. And I have, because I teach physics, I have like popsicle sticks and tape and that kind of thing. So they come in, they eat lunch, and I just give them a challenge where they can be teams or work together. And I'll say, you know, we really build on that like standard of criteria and constraints for the NGSS first engineering standard. So I'm like, here's your criteria, here are your constraints, 5 minutes, who can make the tallest tower? And, you know, the constraints are no tape can touch the tower. And it's as simple as like, you know, having 1 roll of masking tape and, you know, a box of toothpicks per team. So it's really cheap and easy and quick for a lunch meeting. And so just to get things going and get kids interested, just so they don't forget about Mesa before we have buses, they really like that like special thing to come in at lunch.
I think that is a great suggestion. So oftentimes many of our challenges, giving away a not so well kept secret, you know, a lot of times it's just, you know, if you have a bunch of extra materials for something, like you said, popsicle sticks or whatever you may have laying around, if you are able to maybe have a supply closet or, you know, access to some of those things, a lot of time just free build is great, you know, giving them a challenge off of, you know, whatever random materials they have or recyclable materials, or, you know, have them collect some items for like a couple days, you know, maybe even like some Coke cans and toilet paper rolls, you know, those kind of things, and, you know, having them build things. I think that's a great idea just to get them working there. Does anyone else want to share any things that have worked well in their Mesa meeting time?
I can share. So
Okay,
in order to build interest, I've got some of the toys from last year, some of the games. And so I'll play with them during class, like the first 5 minutes of my regular class. And that gets all the kids excited. They're like, what are you playing with? And so like the little balls that you control with the phone, I forget what they're called.
The Spheros?
Yes, those.
Yes, the Spheros.
So I'll play around for like the first 2 minutes of class. And then I'd be like, oh, you want to know more about this? I have a meeting Monday afternoon after school. Come join me then. Or I have like a bridge that I built, and I'll say, okay, who can break it by doing? So I'll pre-build some stuff, and I'll show them, and I tell them, with Mesa, we build stuff and we break it. That's what we do. And so they get very excited by that sort of stuff. And that builds a lot of interest. That gets a lot of kids in the door. And then once you get them in there, we do all the other stuff, hook them in. That's just my hook.
I think that's a great idea. Oftentimes, even for time constraints, I think that's a great suggestion. There is maybe if you only have a 30-minute, they may not have time to do the building themselves, but they could have time to do the destruction or the analyzing before the destruction, possibly, or, taking it apart, or a rebuild. Like maybe you start with like a base bridge or something like very simple that doesn't necessarily do the job. And maybe it's their job to modify it to make it better, or do something to fulfill whatever objective is on there. So I think that's great. So, okay, does anyone else want to share any meeting ideas that have worked within maybe, like the 30-minute hour time frame? So I know that's very different than an activity. Like a time for a meeting is very different oftentimes than an activity. Okay. So the next part of the brainstorming that I'm going to ask some of you all to throw in is, so by a show of hands, have some of you, thought about maybe something that you want to implement at your school site, some kind of activity, Mesa activity, again, longer than the meeting time, some sort of specific activity that maybe you want to implement at your school site by either a show of physical hands or the emoji hands, the reaction hands. Ooh, I see some hearts and some thumbs and some waves. So, okay, with that, so the next part is, so we've talked a lot about, different activities. Not Kim, I'm sorry, looking at Kim, thinking Terry. So your picture right now is right in the middle of my Brady Bunch screen. So Terry gave some ideas, of different activities within Mesa that, and she presented, the performance watch standards, and even the question was asked about the loyalty award list. As a guide to building your activities out for the year, a suggestion is look at that list. Very, very, very good suggestion is to really look at that list to make sure that you are planning the different types of activities that are required, one, for minimum performance watch, and two, to ensure that your students are able to earn those points. So like, for instance, you have your minimum standard of how many workshops, field trips, whatever, and then you want to maybe set a goal for yourself of so many activities for loyalty award. Maybe your goal is, as a program, you want to participate in at least 10 different things throughout the year, whether that be school, regional, or statewide. My suggestion would be to, especially after tomorrow's session, after meeting with your coordinator, after everything, is to create a general year plan. Like maybe it's month by month, does not have to be very detailed, but to ensure that there is activity year round, is to generally plan out, what you can realistically do during these months, So if you want to participate in our Mesa Day, well, our Mesa Day will be in April, what form they may be in, maybe that's going to happen there in April. If you want to participate in our Mesa USA, well, maybe that's in April too. Say your goal is to do maybe one STEM series, and that'll plan out. Your regional coordinator has maybe talked to you about their regional plans. So maybe you're wanting to do a regional rally, which might be in November. These are all very hypothetical. These are all just throwing out dates. And then maybe there's like our North region. They have a STEM showdown that's actually going down now this month. So maybe you're already participating in that. So after throwing out what's already kind of planned, maybe there's 5 or 6 activities thrown in there, and you can kind of see maybe what months, maybe good months for you to plan. And maybe that would be a good time to throw in service learning. That would be time to think about getting a speaker, or that would be time. Field trips right now are one of those things. I know it's a really weird hiatus, but the word, instead of field trips, we're using the field experience, academic field experience. And so we have expanded that field trip option to, and even, I know the kids are on computers. I know you probably as teachers might be just over the virtual world. But one of the things we have discovered last year is there are a lot of opportunities and things that could come virtually. Like I found some free planetarium show. I mean, there's just lots of things that can happen. And so even speakers, that has been a great, that has been something that has been magnified with the use of this virtual world, is now you don't have to have a physical speaker in your class. Because one, they might not be able to come with your restrictions that you may have at your school site. Or two, you're opening it up to maybe, other types of maybe parents or family members. Maybe there's an uncle of one of your students or an aunt that may have this like super awesome job, but they live a few states away. Maybe they can Zoom in for a little bit, and that would be a great opportunity. So, thinking outside of the box to plan out those gaps there. And so with that, for some of you guys that have raised your hands, and again, as a share out, or even in the chat, if you're in the chat or in the share out, if somebody would be willing to maybe share an activity that they have thought of doing at the school level, like something that you are designing that you were thinking of doing, whether that be a service learning, whether that be a leadership program, a field experience, a speaker.
I don't mind sharing out one of our service learning projects for the year. So at Gadsden High School, of course, we're here in the desert, all of us, but we have a lot of students who are raised with a lot of myths about the invertebrates here in the area. Our students are going to take the bug zoo we have in the classroom that's, kind of for educational purposes. And they're going to take that to the middle schools and elementaries, teach the smalls about safety in our desert, first off, for native invertebrates, but let him pet a spider, learn a little bit about them, and kind of get the little kids a little bit safer while our kids build their social skills, they build their presentation skills and communication skills, possibly language skills too. So we're going to partner with at least one of our middle school EL programs. They're going to help us translate everything, keep everything, going on that end. And then there's a couple elementaries that we're going to partner with too. So I know it's a little abstract, but
No, that I think that's a great idea. So again, I'll go into more detail, but that's, I think mentorship or anything you can do if you're like a high school or middle, any of that, like peer mentoring, I think is a great engagement tool. Again, as your school or your district will allow, with any restrictions that you may have. But I think that is a definite great idea for an activity to get lots of students involved and to build up that interest. So we have time for maybe one or two more to share if they're willing to share. Okay. Looks like it's a quiet bunch. So, well, in the comments, there are some in the comments there about sphere minis, drones of some kind, and that there is a STEM night for families in December. So I think those are all great notes. So we'll go ahead and wrap this session up a little bit early. I know it's probably been a long day for many of you all. I did go ahead and put in the chat the attendance verification for today. It's literally 3 questions. Your name, your school. And so this will be every session that we're having for this professional development. This is just our way of tracking attendance. So if before you leave, go ahead and click on this just to mark your attendance for the session. It'll open up in a separate SurveyMonkey. The only last things that I want to close out with is to answer some of the questions that were proposed about tomorrow's day. So this was our first session of our professional development. And so tomorrow is day 2. So the first morning session runs from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And you have your choice of attending either a session on drones, on battle bots, or digital media 2. So to attend the digital media 2, more the advanced session, we held a spring session. So that's the part 2 of it. only if you attended the spring session. And then in the afternoon from 1 to 3 p.m., we will again host the same BattleBot session and then Digital Media 1. So again, if you didn't attend the spring and you're interested in that, that'll be in the afternoon in the PM. And then anytime there's not a session, it's a break. And then from 3:30 to 6 will be our Mesa general session. So 3:30 to 5:30 with breaks given in there. We'll be doing going over our statewide events, our State of our Mesa program, general Mesa overview about what to expect for the year as a general plan, our resources for all of our Mesa advisors. And we will be doing, you'll be working with us and working into a program evaluation. And then from 5:30 to 6 is a regional breakout. So those may be dependent if you guys have already had your regional meetings or just a touch base with your teachers. Whenever that's done, that is the end of the session. So as a reminder for stipends and how this works, because this may be your first statewide meeting you've attended, is I do track attendance like in every session. Essentially, you get $25 for every one of these little sessions that you go to. So like if you're came today and then you go to the ones tomorrow, you could earn or collect a stipend of up to $100, depending upon if you go to all 4 or not and how that works. So at the conclusion of the meeting, I'll process everything, run it through accounting, and I would say within about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, you can expect a check from Mesa on that stipend. So that's how that works. Again, as event wrap up for all of our professional developments and in general, all of our statewide events, if possible, is we'll record our sessions as we are able, and you'll get a notification of, like a certificate, like of how to download your own certificate and where to find the recordings of the event for the days. So that is how tomorrow is going to go. I know some of you guys, you signed up for sessions on and off. At the beginning of each session, I was going to just kind of show a quick list of what you registered for. But as I mentioned, I've already gotten requests to move. Everyone will come into one Zoom link. And then from there, we'll disperse. But I am not going to check if you signed up for drones and you make your way over to BattleBots. That's okay, so, just going to one. And the reason for the different interest is we are able to support different pathways at the start of the year. So these are optional things that you can choose to participate in the fall semester. So the theory is you would come to the introductory session, and if you want to take on this additional challenge within your Mesa time, you would then commit to certain things to then get all the goodies. Like for instance, our drone pathway. If you come to the drone workshop tomorrow morning, he'll give an introduction on drones and what it is. And then if you want to commit to that, there will be an additional day-long training at New Mexico Tech, which will help support. You would go to the training. You could then build a drone with him. And then there is different curriculum that will be presented. And then your obligation would be to implement this curriculum into your Mesa time. And then come out with some deliverable drones and show how you use that in your Mesa time. So again, there's lots of good items or supplies or whatever you want to call it. But there is, also that obligation of time throughout the semester to see if that's a pathway that you want to partake in. So that could be something that could help occupy some of your Mesa time, if that was something that you were interested in. So that's why tomorrow is a lot of those introductory sessions, just to see what might fit for you, what might work for you all there. But is there any questions on what to expect tomorrow or anything else on this session? So with that, I'll go ahead and dismiss a little bit early. Again, I did put in the chat. I did go ahead and put in the chat the SurveyMonkey link. I will also go up here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If you're having problems with that, maybe you're on a phone. I learned this new trick here. I did go ahead and just share a big QR code. If that's easier for some of you all, you guys can go ahead and just scan that in. If that's easier, I don't know what devices you may be on, but you can just even scan that in. It'll also take you to the same place. But with that, I will go ahead and stop the recording here.